definition does not take away, us discussing any criminal activity. It just takes away the fact that we do not associate these criminal activities with an entire community and group. That's what it really does.
Can I just read you a piece from this guidance? Because it's a very important issue. We're going to have this debate over free speech and free expression. And I'm just going to read it to you. It says, as such, the recourse to the notion of free speech and a supposed right to criticise Islam results in nothing more than another subtle form of anti-Muslim racism, whereby the criticism humiliates, marginalises and stigmatises Muslims. One real-life example of this concerns the issue of grooming gangs. Now, the implication being that if you talk about grooming gangs, you are therefore perceived to be racist against Muslims, and therefore this definition would shut that debate down.
No, because anyone with really having a criminal act, doing anything wrong against the law, should be obviously spoken about. But if you're going to put a microscope on a particular group and only talk about where they come from, when actually there are other social issues that impact the fact that they are actually doing what they're doing, instead of just highlighting. There is a thing in psychology called, sort of distinction of discourse, analysis, discourse analysis. You know that, you're an academic. When we do research, when there's propaganda in media, we highlight certain words, certain things in order to do that.
So can I ask a question on that? Just for example, if we were living under this definition of Islamophobia, which may well be adopted by the Labour government, how would the debate over the rape gangs have happened? Because presumably people will have said, well, under this definition, you cannot have a national debate linking rape gangs to Pakistani Muslim communities, even though they are disproportionately more likely to be within Pakistani Muslim communities.
Well, I think because we're also making it in a micro sort of conversation, it is much more wider than just calling out their ethnicity, community and background. I'm not from the Pakistani background, and I am a Muslim. So I also don't want to be seen in a particular way, because even Muslims ourselves believe differently. So if you're going to just say Islam and Muslims in grooming gangs, you are actually going to incite, a whole community. It's better to say, yes, they do come from this background, but there's also issues. I work with the Ministry of Justice. I work in the grassroots, speaking to people in probation, and they come from all parts of, nationality, ethnicity, whatever it is. There are issues why they do have offences, and that is to do with whether they have mental health, whether their social economic background. I think that's more of a research that we need to put in form.